Dr. Anish, thank you so much for joining us at Crypto Weekly. So one of the challenges that has to do with blockchain is the fact that everything is public. And that is a challenge for many companies, for many corporates, for many clients as well. So how are you managing this kind of challenges?
So the thing I would describe is, imagine there's a room and there's a whole bunch of people. So imagine there are 100 people in the room and then there's somebody walking out of the room. You have 1 in 100 chance of guessing who's that. And imagine there's just one person in the room. Whenever that person gets out, you know for sure who that is.
Wow.
This is the same principle that we apply. We have this mathematical technique called zero knowledge, and we apply zero knowledge proofs to do a virtual room in that sense of speaking, and making sure that you have enough of people in the room that the collection of people keeps you anonymity. So what you would be seeing on chain would be the aggregation of all the actions, transactions that people do. So it'll be very hard to pin down. You will still see transactions, but you won't be able to pin that, okay, is it Henri that actually did this? Is it Anish who did it? But it's like, okay, there's everybody in CNBC is doing something, and you will be seeing that. So that's how we provide privacy.
But when it comes to zero knowledge or ZK proof, as we like to call it, to what extent do you think regulators will be comfortable with ZK? I mean, because in traditional banking, we try to have utilities for KYC for many years. It didn't work for that reason. What do you think when it comes to ZK, it could work in the crypto space?
So I'll give you two pieces. As in, like, if you think about FCA in the UK, during lockdown, just before lockdown, there was an incubator, so an MPC incubator, multi-party computing. So in that sense, ZK, zero knowledge, is very adjacent to multi-party computing. So regulator as such actually had an incubator for MPCs, and there are like a couple of them that FCA took under the wing in that sense. So in my mind, there are two pieces. One piece is regulators understanding technology. Other piece is like the technology being able to solve in an efficient manner. And when I say efficient, is an economically efficient manner, the problem that you have at hand. So if you think about KYC in the UK, again, I used to be a banker, so I'm kind of familiar with what happens in the UK. So you have a list, FCA has a list, and you can pick anybody. It's like a menu, right? You pick anybody from this, but you have to get on the list. So if the regulator has enough of confidence and they actually put any of these KYC providers, we can leverage ZK, then it can happen. The difference is very minimal, right? Like literally instead of you going to the KYC provider and they telling you yes, what would happen is like going back to the thing, like the room or the room in which everybody is, this is the KYC provider, right? You don't know who that is, but when they come out, you know for sure, you know, if they come out to the door, the right door, they got yes. Yeah. That's what that I mean, as in like they have KYC. That's what it means.
When I look and when I hear from crypto investors and also analytics, is that everybody is waiting 2025 to see to what extent do you think that the regulatory framework will change. What a new regulation system would mean for the privacy in using blockchain, in your opinion?
I'll be very honest. Nobody has a crystal ball to say what literally is going to happen, but there are key pointers that's happening. So first of the things that's happening in the US drives this, right? So there was a series of incidents in the US. So US government has actually asked people to use secure private communication. That's the first time that the US government has explicitly asked its employees and other people to actually use secure private communication. Now, once you say you want to have secure private communication, just as you described, when you have public blockchain, you have no privacy. Now you have this question, can you have this duality? So my view, as a logical person, as a Bayesian, as they would call it, it's like there's a high likelihood that they will be allowing a bit more privacy because it's in their interest to actually achieve the results that they want. And the other bit that I suspect is happening is the fact that the set of people that are coming in, there's a digital SAR coming in, and somebody already has been mentioned. They all seem to be somewhat what I would call pro-crypto in that sense of speaking. Again, I'm no political analyst, but this is my reading from afar, and like, you know, knowing people, and Henri, you probably have one insight to this.
Point as well, Anish. I mean, you mentioned obviously that I get a lot of benefits, privacy. People want privacy. But at the same time, there's a lot of regulatory focus on crypto traceability, on going against mixers. So how do you think that kind of conflicting views will come together especially as DeFi is becoming more mainstream and ZK technology is advancing a lot.
So let me break that into three pieces.
Yeah.
And now let me give you an example of how it really works in a traditional finance world, right? So I'm sure you've read the book Dark Pools by Dan Robinson. Okay. So this is literally, how you would actually aggregate. So the reason this exists is there's a lot of transactions that actually happen in dark pools. When you go into an exchange, when you do a transaction, literally what happens is there will be an immediate effect on the value at the point in time. Mm-hmm. Imagine you were Elon Musk and you wanted to sell an amount of shares in Tesla, right? If you go to an exchange, an open exchange, and you try to do that, the market will immediately tank, right? So you want to have a mechanism where you could actually do this transaction and still have the value. And this is kind of what you call a dark pool. And the best example of very successful use of dark pool is on Renaissance Technologies, their fund, Medallion Fund, right? Yeah. The Medallion Fund actually has been returning north of 40% for a very long period. And they're only available to employees and nobody else knows what they do. Because it's a dark pool, from outside you can't see it. So there's such a mechanism where you have KYC and disclosure. And, this is what I say, like, here is something that already exists that actually works, and we know it works, and regulators are happy with that. What are we trying to do in the crypto world? Can we actually have something similar? So the attempt that we have been trying to do is, okay, can we have KYC? As I described, we can do KYC with ZK, right? Yeah, agreed. Now what do we need to do? We want to have private transactions, but at the same time, we want to have this KYT, like the transaction is not tainted in that sense. So if I, say for example, in an arbitrary world, imagine I'm a bad person, right? Meaning like when I have some bad money. If I send you some money, your funds get tainted. So you want to keep track of this. But, nobody, you, me, or anybody should know that this is actually happening. And you should be able to reveal it if, say, for example, HMRC or IRS comes to us. That is a bit we call selective disclosure. So this is what I believe, which is what we try to do with Panther, which is essentially, we have a third-party KYC provider called Purify. They're based out of Dubai here. And they do like normal stuff with Web2 kind of KYC providers, like the list that we have in various countries. And then what they do is like they have a room, which actually has a green light or a red light, the way I see it, right? If it's a green, it got a KYC. You're on the other side. And then what you have to do is you have to keep a magical thing. You're given an envelope with something. And whenever you do transaction, you also hand over the envelope. And at any point in time, when you have a breach, you go, okay, show me the envelope, right? And you open all the envelopes and there's a red in here, so you broke it. So this is how this would work.
Are your children prepared for the future of money? Order Decoding Crypto with Henri and Hodler, the #1 new release kids book on Amazon.